told you had to stand on this red dot, but I think I might move around a little bit. My name's Tony Parraman. I'm Head of Sponsor Liaison for the Bloodhound project. The Bloodhound project is the next land speed record car, and hopefully there's a slide behind me that works. Yes, it's great, it's fantastic. I won't be calling upon you to come up on stage, but I might call upon you to answer a few questions. Is that okay? Yeah, some tricksy questions, that's good. Right, just to get us going, this is a video that we put together right back at the beginning of the project, which gives you a bit of a look and feel as to exactly how fast Bloodhound will be travelling. He says, waiting for it to automatically start. Is it going to automatically start? Yes. Click it again. Fantastic. And it's disappeared totally. There you go. So, as I say, this was put together right back at the beginning of the project, and it's sort of, and I'll apologise for it afterwards when you see what the contents are. So yes, we do go faster than a speeding bullet. We did choose our handgun particularly carefully. There are other handguns out there on the market which do go slightly faster than us, but we needed something that we could actually overtake during the course of a run. And I say apologise because normally I do this presentation to school kids, and obviously bringing handguns and bullets into an educational environment isn't a great thing, but normally teachers don't mind that too much because it's a lovely graphical demonstration of exactly how fast we will be travelling. And what you have to imagine is if Andy Green, who is our driver, could wind down the window, at some point during that run he will be able to put his hand out and pick that bullet out of the air because he will be travelling at the same speed as it is, which is a nice little sort of visual sort of clue as to exactly how fast he is actually going. Unfortunately, he wouldn't be able to do that because we accumulate 12 tons of air in front of the car, which will rip his arm off and suck him out of the car. So, top line stats for Bloodhound. Bloodhound is about 13.5 metres long. It weighs 7 3/4 tonnes fully fueled. It carries a 1.5 tons of fuel, which it burns in approximately 55 seconds, and we cover the measured mile in about 3.7 seconds. We do 4.5 football pitches in 1 second, or if you would like to blink for me, there you go. In the time it took this young lady to blink, we would go in one end of Wembley Stadium and out the other, and you won't have seen it. Okay? And if you happen to be standing in the middle of the pitch and facing in the wrong direction, we will run you over, and you wouldn't know about it because we go faster than the speed of sound. Well done, sir. You say, is this your sister? Yeah. Yeah, well done. You saved your sister from that one. There you go. So those are some of the top line stats, but obviously we need somewhere to run this car. So what we've had to do is we've had to find ourselves a desert down in South Africa, and what we've done is we've picked up every single stone from that desert from 24 million square metres. That's 16,000 tonnes of stones. Okay, that's taken about 3.5 years. And just to give you an idea of exactly what 24 million square metres looks like, it's the equivalent of a dual carriageway running from Bristol to, and you get to answer this one as well, how far do you think 24 million square metres would get you? No idea? Anybody like to hazard a guess? The moon. The moon. A little bit too far, actually. Moscow. So from Bristol to Moscow is 24 million square metres on a dual carriageway. Fantastic. It's a great project. Believe me, I've been working on it for the last 7 years. I'm the head of sponsor liaison, so I look after our 350 odd sponsors. I'm an ex-engineer, I'm also an ex-teacher, so I have my foot firmly in both camps about this project. So why is teaching important to this project? Well, we are an inspiration project. We are not just about building a fast car. Building a fast car is fantastic. I can tell you it's very enjoyable dealing with a jet engine and a rocket on a daily basis, because that's what we've got in the car to make it go that fast. But we're also about inspiration. This is John Cobb. Now, John Cobb was one of our former land speed record holders, and Richard Noble, my boss, saw John Cobb when he was 5 years old. And he saw this man and he wanted to become a land speed record holder. And so Richard set off on this path from that very early age to become a land speed record holder. He realised his dream and he got to the dizzy heights of 633 miles an hour in a car called Thrust 2. He wasn't content with that. He went on to become project director of Thrust SSC, supersonic car, and got up to 763.035 miles an hour. He'd put on a little bit of weight by this time, so he didn't actually drive that car. Andy Green drove that car. So the UK has continuously held the land speed record for the last 32 years. And we plan to continue to do that because Richard now is project director of Bloodhound. So inspiration is really important, and this was the guy that inspired him. And we hope to be the inspiration for the next generation. Why do we need to be an inspirational project? Well, in days of old, dads and mums would take their children off to the garage and they'd go and fiddle around with bikes and they'd take car engines out. But I don't know if you've ever lifted up the bonnet of a car these days. All it is a sea of plastic and things that you wouldn't actually know what was underneath there. I don't even know what's underneath there, and I'm an engineer. We don't do that anymore. We don't have that interactivity with technology. We've all got smartphones and they're very, very clever, but I dare say there aren't that many people in this room that actually know how one of those works, or let alone have taken it apart, have a fiddle around with it when it breaks. We all go over to the App Store and we go, fix my phone. So we are divorced from technology. We need to get more involved. So what we've done is we've designed a project that gets people in touch with engineering. And that's what we need. We need to inspire young children. The other reason we need to inspire children is because we are the 7th or 8th largest manufacturing country in the world. Okay? We still make lots and lots of stuff in this country. We are a manufacturing country. Oh, we always have been. Obviously, we invented industry, and now we're down to number 8. But we're not feeding that industry with enough young children, enough inspired young children to go into technology. I was looking through for some stats just to impress you with my memory skills. And last year, around about midway through last year, there was about 200,000 technology jobs going begging in the country. Those are spaces that could be filled by the young people of tomorrow. But unfortunately, we're all a bit inspired by the X factor. And so what we need to do is put engineering in the forefront of kids' minds. And just some examples up there on the board of UK engineering. I luckily get to work with Rolls-Royce just up the road, one of that fantastic aerospace companies. And Bristol itself is a sort of hub of innovation, both from an engineering point of view, but also from the arts point of view. I was lucky enough to also to work with Aardman Animation. They were one of our sponsors at the beginning of the project, and they helped us with our licensing deals. So Bristol is a fantastic area for innovation in so many different ways, but we need to get young people inspired and into engineering. So how do we go about inspiring our young children? Well, how do we do this? Well, up on the board there, you'll see several examples of this. So in the top right-hand corner, there's a couple of girls, and they made our balloon cars. Now, our balloon cars are a fantastic idea. It's an A4 piece of card. You cut round, you make a little shape of Bloodhound. You put some straws on the bottom, some axles through the middle, put some wheels on each side, and the entire thing sort of runs along. We put a balloon on it, and it goes very fast, as long as you put the balloon on around the right way. I have done this project, as you can see down the bottom there, about 5,000 of these balloon cars. Young people can't blow up balloons. I'll tell you that now. What they do is they try to blow up the balloon, so they get it, they blow on it, they cover it in spit, and then they hand it to you. And say, can you blow it up for me, please? And I look at them and say, have you got any communicative diseases? And they look a little bit puzzled at that point, and I go, it doesn't matter about that, and I blow up their balloon. I have made about 5,000 of these. My immune system is really quite robust now. Okay, next door to that, you see some kids, they've made a Connects car. I don't know if you've ever used Connects. Connects is sort of a modern version of Meccano. Old people like me used to use Meccano and Lego. Connects is the modern version of that. Bloodhound actually holds the world record for the largest Connects model ever. Okay, you can go up to Coventry Transport Museum and there's a model of Bloodhound, full size, 346,000 pieces of it in the right colours. It's fantastic. But these guys here have made themselves a Connects model and they're going to fire it down a track using compressed air. Unfortunately, it's a bit rubbish because it's too tall, the wheels are too close together, and the entire thing will explode when it gets to the other end of the track. But the important thing is they'll ask why. Why didn't it work? And our education system, and I can say this because I used to be a teacher, I used to be a design technology teacher, doesn't really like failure. What we like is success. Okay, so we teach our children just to succeed. But failure is as important as success. We need to teach young children that the idea that you fail at something isn't bad, as long as you learn from that experience. So as long as those young boys there actually say to you, why did it go wrong? What was the problem with it? And then they can make another Connects model. They can make it longer, lower, faster, sleeker. And that's the important thing that we try to get across to young people. The young person on the end there has made a what we call a Formula One schools model. It's made out of balsa wood. You stick a Stoller siphon cylinder up its backside and you fire it down a track at 77 miles an hour. And we, as Bloodhound, have taken the record from 1.6 seconds down to 0.6 of a second. So it's fantastic, and they've won an award for doing that. And then the guys at the top there, what they've done is they've entered into the Bloodhound Rocket Car Challenge. So obviously we've got a rocket in our car. It's a dual fuel rocket, so it's a solid fuel and liquid oxidizer, but we use solid rockets to fire little models across playgrounds. And as you can see, the record now stands at 533 miles an hour for firing a small model across a playground. So we're in a race with a bunch of school kids to build the first 1,000-mile-an-hour car, and to be quite frank, they are winning. So these kids have all been inspired by Bloodhound, and in actual fact, last year we presented to over 1,000 school children, and we hope to do that for the next few years. So how do we manage to do this? How do we as a project, how can we as a project do that? And that's through open innovation. Everything that we do within the project, all the technology that we develop, or the research that we do is on our website. That means any of you can go onto our website, you can take a look, and if you've got a spare £55 million and a jet engine and a rocket, you could build yourself your own Bloodhound and go land speed record racing. What that allows us to do is it allows it to share all our information with all the school kids, all the universities. University of West of England happens to be one of our founder sponsors for our project, so you'll see their logo writ large on the side of the car. They came on board with the project when it was right back in its early days, when it was just a sort of idea on the side of a fag packet. And they were very brave and put some money into the project. And they have seen the numbers of engineering students increase dramatically within the university. Now, I can't lay claim that we are the sole reason as to why they have increased those numbers of engineering students, but we have definitely been a contributory factor to that. Swansea University, also one of our sponsors, have also seen a dramatic rise in their engineering intake. And while I was at the Autosport show a year or so ago, I actually met a young man. He came onto the stand. He said, can I ask you some questions about the Bloodhound? I said, yeah, sure, that's not a problem. He said, I'd like to let you know I'm studying aerodynamics at the University of Hatfield. I said, that's fantastic, really good to hear that. He said, so he asked me some very tricky questions about the aerodynamics on the car that I was just about able to answer. And he said, can I just let you know, the reason I'm studying aerodynamics at Hatfield University is because you came into my school 5 years ago with a model of Bloodhound and some leaflets and gave me a presentation. And that story is being repeated again and again across the country. And recently we've opened up the education or the technical centre down in Bristol to a load of students to come in to build rocket cars, and Rob Bennett is doing a fantastic job at inspiring those children. We call it STEM by Stealth, and the reason we call it STEM by Stealth is because children are enjoying themselves when they're learning. I don't know how many of you have sat during a maths class at school and thought, actually, this is a little bit dull, I'm not quite enjoying this very much. And what happens is your brain tends to switch off and you don't tend to take in that information. What happens with us is we get them to build rocket cars and blow stuff up, which is always quite exciting. And by the end of it, they go, well, that was great. I've heard kids run around go, that was a fantastic day. We did some really good stuff. It was great not sitting in class and not learning stuff. I said, what do you mean not learning stuff? They said, well, we didn't really learn anything, did we? Because we weren't sat still, or we weren't sort of just listening to the teacher talk at us. What we were doing was we were running around being very excited about everything. I said, well, so you haven't learned anything about drag? Oh, yeah, drag, that's that stuff that slows things down. Friction? Oh, yeah, that's stuff that stops you from falling over when you're walking along. What about power? Oh, yeah, we learned something. And so by the end of it, they know that they've learned something and they've actually got something from it. And that's why we call it STEM by Stealth, which is absolutely fantastic. And just to finish off with, I've got a video here of some kids actually doing some activities that they really enjoyed with Bloodhound. So just as a short clip of some kids who had started making those little balloon cars. They moved on to larger rocket cars across their playground. They then moved on to something where they said, actually, we want to get something that we can get into. And they had a fun day building go-karts, or a fun few weeks building go-karts, and they took them up there and they stood in front of their parents. They raced them down the hills. But the important thing I'd like to notice is who won. It was a bunch of girls who won that competition. And that is because girls always make the best engineers. Okay, sorry guys, if there are engineers in the audience, but girls do make the best engineers. And do you know what? We're not harvesting enough girls from schools. If I told you that half of all the state schools in the UK don't have one single girl doing physics A-level, that is a frightening statistic that we need to change. And that's why Bloodhound exists. Thank you very much for listening.